Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, everybody. I hope you're all doing well. Happy Sunday to each and every single one of you out there. Hope your week has been absolutely fantastic, full of joy, and I hope to bring a little bit of that joy your way here on Point of View, as I'm going to be playing some Super Mario Bros Deluxe U, as you can see beside me there. But again, as always, you're welcome to share all your favorite topics in the world of pop culture from this week. Let me know what you've been up to. Let me know what you got planned for the upcoming weeks. This is your show, your opportunity to shine. As I say, good morning to Mr. Bobby Petito. Bobby Stats, how are you doing? Missed you on Thursday there. We didn't get to have you shining in the chat there with us, as we had the Short Kings from Prairie Pro Wrestling on Ring Respect Radio, and then we debuted the Honor Ramble on Thursday. Right after that, the Honor Ramble that went on and did very well with Kyle Sparks and Auntie Collins talking all things Ring of Honor. It was a ton of fun. Bobby, I'm so happy to hear that you're doing great. Love hearing that. Good stuff. Brian Carter, happy Sunday to you. Speaking of people who were in the chat on Thursday there with us, joining in and asking the questions to the Short Kings. What a wonderful time it was. Good morning, Brian. How are you doing? What is new in your world as of today? What are you excited about? What's going on? What's upcoming, people? What do we got happening out there in the world right now? When is the Bobby? I'll throw this one to you. When is the tapings from the last MLW show going on to YouTube again? I know that's going to be coming up well in advance of the 28th, because that was when their 29th, I believe, is the next showing. So, all right, here we go. And I'll be saying I'm looking forward to watching the next MLW show. I am as well. I'm curious more than anything, because if you've been reading the reports, they're now claiming that Jacob Fatu is a free agent, no longer with MLW, and that who knows what direction we're going with Alex Kane having lost the title. How much longer do we have Alex Kane for at the same time is what I got a question. Brian saying last day in the basement, fully recovered. Nice. Glad to hear you're coming through on the better side of it, Brian. And thank you for still tuning in and watching the shows despite being under the weather from a very, very nasty, disgusting disease that's out there today. And Bobby saying MLW Burning Crush, which might be the most ridiculous name I've ever heard of for a wrestling show. Nonetheless, Burning Crush from MLW is available on February the 17th. So I could guarantee you right here, right now, next Sunday's edition of this show will be a watch along for MLW's Burning Crash, as we quite potentially see the final MLW showing for one Jacob Fatu, considering the reports of him and his free agency. I don't know how to make Mario fly with this stuff. I haven't played this game much. Got this game when we got the system, but haven't really. I ended up playing a lot of other games in the meantime and not have much time for this one, so it's kind of one of my first row goes at this. But yeah, I am looking forward to watching Burning Crush. Bobby saying that Bobby Fish will be at Intimidation Games on the 29th. I want to be excited about that because I know Bobby Fish is a good worker. Why I am not as excited about it is because it wasn't that long ago that Bobby Fish was announced coming back to MLW, and what did he do? 2 matches before taking something else. So I don't know. I'm skeptical on this for that exact reason, because I don't like to see people use MLW as like a one-off stop all the time, where like, oh, somebody else hasn't currently given me a call, so let's go over to MLW for a spot or two and, you know, really kind of put a dent in what their current plans are. Just my thought, but I'm happy for him. I like the work on it. Yeah, I mean, I like Bobby Fish's work. Don't get me wrong. I'm not nothing against Bobby Fish's actual work. I just know that last time that he came back to MLW, they made a big deal out of it. They put him into the Opera Cup tournament. The quality was going to be added to the roster, and then he goes and heads over to AEW because that's where his friends were. And he left MLW high and dry. And I get it. Don't get me wrong. MLW is not going to be able to pay you anything like AEW can at all. But still, it's frustrating as an MLW fan when people come in and take advantage of their open door policy like they do sometimes. I'd like to see some people stick, and we need it more than ever, especially, if the rumor true. If Fatu's gone, we just lost Hammerstone. Who knows how much longer we've got Alex Kane? Like, I guarantee, like, we haven't seen Cardona back for a while, so I guess in Cardona's thing might have run its time. Like, I really don't know. I'm out of the loop on it, but Bobby mentioning, I like that MLW is using Zeta Steel and Tiara James all the time. I do too. Yeah, no, they're great talents. They bring added depth to the roster, especially for the featherweight division. The featherweight division has been honestly one of the stronger aspects of MLW's game for quite some time now. And I'm looking forward to, there was an announcement, Bobby, and you'll know this one because I know you were mentioning it on the Japanese Wrestling Update with Melball and Andre there, but somebody was coming from over from Toshi Pro again or something like that to one of the upcoming MLW shows. I know it's not this one, but it's one of the more recent ones coming up, if I'm not mistaken. Unagi Sayaka, well, I hope I pronounced that right, is coming to the MLW Women's Featherweight Division. Yeah, okay, that was the name you had brought up there. Is coming up very, very soon. And I'm happy that they're trying different talents, bringing in different talents. Like it's fantastic. I just hope she doesn't drive a bicycle. The bicycle thing that put me off with some of that kind of thing. That I really did not enjoy that with, especially against Janai Kai like it was. But again, I want to see more talent coming in and keep that division strong. Keep Janai Kai looking strong because, man, what a killer. What an absolute killer. She is former Stardom wrestler. Okay. Sounds awesome. That would be why Andre and Melball were so familiar with their work for sure, because definitely fans of Stardom. Speaking of Andre, haven't confirmed if Mel will be joining us, but definitely Intimidation Games, being that it's on a Thursday, that lands on Ring Respect Radio night, so you can enjoy myself and Papa Smokes there, but you're also going to be able to enjoy having Andre C with us as we're going to be watching Intimidation Game that night. I know Andre very, very excited to watch Kojima defend against the Murder Grandpa for the MLW World Heavyweight Championship that evening. Bobby saying, I'm thinking that she could be wrestling Janai Kai or Delmi Exo. Yeah, again, I wouldn't be surprised if it was Janai. I don't see Janai Kai dropping the belt before then, but who am I to make predictions? I didn't see Alex Kane dropping the title anytime soon, and look how freaking wrong I was. As Brian's probably sitting there getting stronger and feeling better every time that he sees me crying over the spilled milk that is Alex Kane's championship run. Papa Smokes! How you doing, brother? I'm doing fantastic. Good to see you here on Point of View. Imagine that you're probably rocking and rolling at the old job there. But yeah, thanks for dropping in. How's it been going? Looking forward to Ring Respect Radio this Thursday. I have yet to select a topic, though. Maybe we should. Yeah, I don't know. I think the last day of the month, we're going to do a trip through the territories. We discussed that. Obviously, next week, we can, say it ain't so with Fatu. You know, maybe we should talk some MLW on this Thursday's show there, Papa Smokes, about the state of MLW, the state of Jacob Fatu. But yeah, dude, say it ain't so. I agree with you. When I read that news, like, it's just one after another. They're dropping like flies in MLW, and I don't know what to think. Who are we going to be left with here soon? We're going to be left with the calling. They're going to keep bringing more members of that faction into the fold here on us. Brian Carter saying the El Assassino versus Son of Irish match may be my new favorite. Brian, I believe that one's the one that Assassino just came and beat the absolute tar out of Son of Irish, put him into the hospital, and picked up a easy victory, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, Brian, if we got some news for you, though, I believe next Saturday is the chairs match between Cannonball Kelly and El Assassino on the channel. Bob Spoke saying next MLW champ, Bud Heavy. But at this point, man, they should bring Bud Heavy in, and he'd be a top dude this time around. Mods Crew, yeah, Bobby saying Mods Kruger is back, and he's on their roster, so that's fantastic news. I mean, he essentially murdered Jacob Fatu, so I can only imagine Mods Kruger is got to be looked at as potential for, being one of the top guys there. This could be the next MLW World Heavyweight Champion for all we know. Mods Kruger is a dangerous man and brings Contra back on his own. Just the black handed Contra comes in and eliminates his former partner in crime there, Jacob Fatu. So, well, curious to see where it's all leading to. I'm sure we'll see a lot coming up here with Intimidation Games and everything else that we got coming up in the not too distant future. What if he beats Ricky Shane Page, says Bobby? I think we would celebrate if anybody was to beat Ricky Shane Page at this point, because I believe we all are in agreement that we want to see more out of the Openweight Championship, and we just haven't seen it yet. So yes, whether it be Ricky Shane Page or him going into that world title picture, Mods Kruger definitely a name added to that roster that we know and enjoy and appreciate. So that's positive news, but they really need to boost that roster. They need to start bringing in some talent that could have some longevity, have some good solid feuds. But yeah, something that we can definitely talk about fully and in depth this Thursday on Ring Respect Radio. I'm looking forward to throwing down and talking about Major League Wrestling. Ooh, look at that. Ice. I get to throw ice balls if I get this thing, I think. But I probably shouldn't have destroyed the other bricks around here that would have helped me jump up there properly. Now I just look like an idiot trying to jump up to the blue flower that I can't reach. Bobby saying that Queen Aminata was on AEW Collision last night. They really seem to be pushing forward with a lot of Queen Aminata on their show. Happy to see that. I'm glad that Queen Aminata hasn't just come there. Well, look at that. I spent a lot of time doing that and I get crushed anyway. I'm glad that they didn't just bring Queen Aminata in and then have her do an appearance or two and then kind of forget she was there. There seems to at least be some form of a build, or at least enough of a trust to push forward with Queen Aminata in some sort of way. So I'm very, very happy to see that, because Queen Aminata is definitely a talent. All right. Oh. All right, got blue flower again. Jump, jump, jump. There we go. Tournament device. She wrestled against Toni Storm. Okay, so even putting her in against someone who is a top name in that division too. So, good on them. I mean, they're not just, Queen Aminata is not just an afterthought in that division. They actually see the same kind of level of potential that the rest of us do. So awesome. Very happy to hear that. I'll have to go check that one out.
Hello.
Hello, Ed. How are you doing this morning?
I'm good.
Good to hear. So what's new in your world?
So I think, because I haven't seen it on here yet, and I don't know if anybody here has talked about it, can we talk about Thursday night?
Thursday night.
Can we talk about The Rock,
Roman Reigns, sure.
Cody Rhodes,
sure,
and Triple H? Because
let's throw down on it.
Chef's kiss. Like, I thought, okay, they're going to do some stupid, press conference. They'll have some kind of thing, and it won't be that big a deal. It'll be fine. We'll all move on with our lives, right?
Yeah.
I was not expecting to have one of the better segments we've seen from the Bloodline in a while.
Yeah. An unexpected one, for sure.
And also, The Rock is heel for the first time since Hollywood Rock, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it has been a long-ass time, too. And, I mean, good play on their part, and good play on Rock's part to go along with it as well. And also, hello to Barry Monkey, who just joined us in the chat there.
Yes, Barry Monkey. Hello.
Thank you for joining. Yeah, I mean, the segment played out very well. Here is my fears with the direction. I don't want a triple threat match. I really don't want a triple threat match. I think that would be the lazy man's way of booking this and turning it into something.
I don't think we're getting a triple threat, to be honest.
I really hope not.
I have a crazy idea.
I want to hear your crazy idea.
All right. So as we all know, I follow the man, the myth, the legend, Tom Collier. Yes. That was great, though. You got that mushroom just long enough to get squished.
Yes. That's not the first time today either. So just so
Oh, probably not.
And I'm about to die the same way I did last time.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, look at that.
Now, do you need that other coin up top? Oh, okay. It's going to get you there. Okay.
Probably, but my lack of experience is going to prevent me from probably getting every little thing throughout here today. So,
well, Bobby, you got to have experience.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. For now, we're just trying to survive.
Okay. But no, so I have this crazy idea based on a couple things that I've heard from the good Mr. Colahue.
Mm-hmm.
And it's led me down a bad fantasy road path. But the story also kind of leans like this might be something they're interested in. So, as we build to Elimination Chamber, what if they try to have Seth wrestle? I think it's a bad idea. I don't love the idea. But if they think he's healthy, what if they do a tag team match and it looks like they're building?
Mm-hmm.
So you do Rock Roman versus Cody and Seth. Here's where you can give Rock his big moment and let him get a win. Munson Cat needs to come up, though.
That's right. He's complaining. All right. He wants to listen too. Okay.
All right.
Ed's talking. Be quiet.
So we get Rock and Roman versus Seth and Cody at Elimination Chamber. It's a big match. Plus, every time The Rock comes back for these real big matches, he tends to always have one tune-up match, and it tends to be a tag team match.
Mm-hmm.
If you remember, Rock Cena versus Miz and Truth.
Yeah.
At Survivor Series. So they don't care how big the stage is. They'll put this man on a tag team with somebody at any point. Coming out of Elimination Chamber, what if they start building, and again, I know it's crazy, and he probably shouldn't do it, but if his doctors have cleared him, what if the night one main event for WrestleMania is Triple H versus The Rock?
I mean, my only thing is, do we need that?
I think in WWE's mind, they wouldn't mind having a match like that on their show because of the sheer fact of everything they've lost.
Fair.
In their mind, they've already lost way more than they were going to be willing to lose.
Well, and I mean, in that sense, do better.
Right. We do also see. Oh, we have Brian pumping in saying, "Did we see a State Puff Man briefly in the back?"
Oh, probably if I moved, yes, you would have seen this right here, Stay Puff, directly from the previous Ghostbusters installment. There, I've got that Slimer and Muncher from that collection.
One of the things Ol'Ed wants to do, if people keep subscribing on Twitch and we can get monetized on YouTube. So if you're not following on YouTube and you're not subscribed, please subscribe. One of the fun things that we want to do is we want to get Bobby a real green screen.
Oh, I should just get one. I mean, in all
so that Bobby can go ahead and have a proper green screen for when he wants to do shows like this, where he has a green screen behind him. Because I'm going to give you all little streamer magic. As you can see on my shoulder, I actually have a green screen. I have a legitimate green screen. It's not big enough to cover the area of the room that my camera picks up. So I need to get a better camera that's more close in. But what it does is you can portray a virtual background behind you. What the green screen does is it tells the computer and the system that you're working with. So in our case, StreamYard. By the way, big ups to StreamYard. We really love your products. You've been making some fantastic new things for your products, and we greatly appreciate that.
I love a lot of their new features.
Yeah.
Really, really amazing.
But one of the great things that it does is it has a virtual background. So you can go ahead and you can import an image and put behind you, like Bobby with a desk. But when you don't have the actual green screen behind you, it just says, well, we're going to just try to put this behind you. But every time you move and you shift, the pixels kind of lose their way because they no longer now know what's background and what's not. Whereas the green screen helps to keep that background solid.
Yeah. They're not even that expensive.
They're just a pain in the ass to set up every week.
That's the biggest thing. But I do intend to move my office eventually, so I think in doing that, I will probably implement a green screen at that point in time. And then I can do like a full proper setup of everything.
Yeah.
The way I want it.
I mean, I'm just pushing for subs and subscriptions to get us.
Oh yeah, no,
I
badly appreciate it.
I half use the whole sub and monetize on YouTube thing just as a way to try to get us monetized more than it is.
Yeah, we got to keep the lights on somehow.
Agreed. Because we all love doing this, but we would much prefer to do it for money than for free, if at all possible. Not necessarily money from you people, but money from general. Bobby, you're not going to try to go get those extra berries up the top, huh?
I don't really know how to do it right now, and I've got 76 seconds left to finish the level, so
okay.
I wasn't going to risk it. Yeah. Right now, it's clearing the course. I always, like, especially with any Mario games like this, I kind of will go and clear the courses first.
And then come
back and try to do all the tasks.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, I mean, because we're relatively the same age. So, like, when Super Mario World came out for the Super Nintendo, it was all about like finishing everything so you could open things up and then going back to finish the percentage, because it was the first time really for us as young gamers and stuff like that it showed a progress and showed the amount of percentage you had beat the game so far.
Barry, when I say that we're not necessarily looking for money from you people, and he goes, good, because I've got fuck all in the way of spare money.
That's fair.
But Barry, you watch, I was going to say you watch on Twitch, but you watch an awful lot of people on Twitch. You know, I see Barry in an enormous amount of chats in different places throughout the course of a week here on Twitch. I was in my friend Megan's stream. He's in there. I was in our good friend at Get the Table stream. I saw him there. I see this man in all sorts of different places. He does love his wrestling Twitch. He also loves his gaming Twitch, too.
Yeah, he likes twitching.
Well, you know, we're not going to talk about how he likes his twitching. We'll leave that for him.
That's right.
His twitching, you know, desires are entirely up to him.
Yeah. Save that for behind the scenes, Barry.
But no, I think because I'm still on board with fuck Cody and fuck Cody's story. Like, I'm still on board with that. I'm with The Rock on the Cody Crybabies. That while I do think it's nice that that they're doing Cody and that they've found a creative way to tell this story, because it's obviously creative and had all of us for a week or two completely bamboozled what the hell was going to happen with Cody.
Mm-hmm.
They told an A+ story, and we need to give WWE credit for that.
Damn it.
And Bobby jumped in a hole.
I really did. Morning, Astrid. I see Astrid in the chat there too. So
yeah, we got Brian saying the thing I hate about Twitch is the ads take you out of the viewing at inopportune times. So here's the thing about Twitch on the back end. There's a countdown to the thing, but because we're not streaming in the Twitch software, it's always off to our side and we miss it.
Yeah.
Because there are some gaming streamers that I watch that are very particular about when they take their ad break so that they don't do it over some of their gameplay. They'll stop what they're doing and they'll do something else during the period of time that their ad's on. I try my best to do that during NXT, but it doesn't always work. But yeah, Twitch is problematic because of the ads. However, if the ads are giving you a problem on Twitch, there is a solution. For those channels that you really like and you want to support, if you go ahead and use your Amazon Prime, if you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free Twitch sub a month if you link your Amazon Prime to your Twitch, so you can do that. Or for the low price of if you're on desktop, which is what I always suggest, save yourself the buck and pay $4.99 for a subscription to your favorite streamers, so that when you're watching their content, you don't. Again, it's not me asking for money. It's just telling you what you can do to stop seeing ads on Twitch.
And he didn't necessarily say OLE. It's any of your
favorite streamer.
Yeah.
It can be us. It can be, as Barry says, Get the Tables rate us often on after NXT, so he's nice and he goes in to talk to them in their chats.
They're good people.
We love Tony. I think Tony does a fantastic job. Tony and Dave over there at Get the Tables, they do great work, and I'm forever grateful for them sending their audience here after that they're done with the watch party to let them see what we think of the show as well. It's fun. But support all the fellow creators. Support whatever favorite creator you want. If you have the means financially, that's a great way to support them. If not, you almost get the top.
I think 4,000 is technically
okay. Is it
or close, or maybe if you hit the top, you get like a
5,000.
Yeah, or a free life, something along those lines.
But no, I think that they've done a masterful job of incorporating The Rock into this story. And I'm excited to see what's going to happen this upcoming week when we have The Rock and Roman back on SmackDown. Now that Triple H has made it clear that he's in charge.
Yeah.
In the way, so the reason why I suggested it might be a Triple H versus The Rock match is because of the way that he's made himself such a part of this story. You know what I mean?
Oh,
like
for
that
sure.
look that Triple H gave at the end of that press conference on Thursday, that was not the look of a man who's not thinking about doing something. And if he's thinking about doing something, he's thinking about getting back in that ring again.
I also wondered, though, too, and thought maybe, just maybe, this could be leading to in the respective corners of the opponent. So The Rock in the corner of Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, Triple H maybe showing a backup to Cody Rhodes during this whole thing, as opposed to having 51-year-old Rock, and I'm pretty sure Paul Levesque isn't much different in age to that, but with even more health issues than The Rock's ever had.
I mean, other than the heart problem, Triple H is a well-shaped 54-year-old man.
I mean, I could only pray to be in as good a shape as he is when I hit 54. So,
from the great state of Nashua, New Hampshire.
Is that why he's in great shape?
Well, no, he's just in great shape because
okay.
He trained under Killer Kowalski, and that man was a legend.
Yeah, I just thought maybe that there was something special about that particular location.
It's very close to me.
Oh, well, okay. There we go.
No, he trained at the Killer Kowalski School in Malden, which, after a few moves towards the end of Killer's life, Killer helped start training at what is now known as the New England Pro Wrestling School, I think it's called. And that's the training school at the local indie promotion that I end up going to a lot.
Okay.
So, I always like seeing them. That's the place where one of the schools where Sasha and Kofi both went to. It's also a promotion that at one point or another housed Ivar, and it also housed Tommaso Ciampa at one point.
Okay.
Yeah. Ivar looked completely different when he was here. It was fun. At one point, he was playing like a duke. So,
wow, this
is lost Super Mario. No,
this is bad, Bobby.
Bobby brings up the idea of Nick Aldis being in Cody's corner. I like the idea, but I think that you should keep the two authority figures the same. And I think Triple H has the ability to kind of bridge that gap, because I think Triple H has the ability to be that middle guy. He's the authority, but he can kind of afford to take a side.
Yeah.
So to speak. Because it's what's best for business.
There was a lot of just like throwback comments that he made in that promo as well too, while also taking the piss out of The Rock at the same time. So I enjoyed it. I mean, I did enjoy it. It's promoting a main event at the biggest show that you have going on, and that's exactly what they need.
Yeah. And it's keeping people guessing still. Because at this point, we still don't know if it's a triple threat. We don't know if it's 2 nights of main events, for one for Rock and one for Roman. Like, at this point, we think we know, but we obviously don't, because at this point last week, we thought that The Rock was in the main event and that they were pushing aside Cody for Roman.
And we at one point thought that CM Punk and Seth Rollins were going to be fighting for the belt at WrestleMania.
At one point, WWE was really hoping that they could have that too. Let's be honest.
Well, yeah, of course they were. Stranger things ended up occurring, and now we've got Seth versus somebody. We have no
I still
clue
think it's Gunther. At the end of the day, I still want it to be, and think it needs to be Gunther. There's only one bad choice for Seth, I think, at this point, and I'll be honest, I think people may disagree with me. I think the only bad choice is Drew. I don't want to see Drew versus Seth again. I feel like I've seen that enough.
There's a lot of the match. Well, I don't know. There's a lot of them that it's like, I don't know if it's really WrestleMania worthy when you look at the list of potentials in this tournament or qualifier for the Elimination Chamber. Like, I don't know. There's just a lot there that I'm like, it just doesn't feel like top of the card championship title WrestleMania. Like,
I don't know. I got my hopes way too high when I was looking at that graphic, because there's a certain wrestler in there that just made me laugh hysterically, and all I want is this one match. You know what I'm talking about, right?
You want Dominic Mysterio.
I want Dom! Seth versus Dom, night 1 main event.
Hell no.
No, but think about this. This makes sense. I can make this story make sense. This is how you get Damian to use the Money in the Bank.
Okay.
So Seth takes on Dom. However that match goes, probably not with Dominic winning, because why would Dominic win that match?
Well, you would piss off the entire
yes,
WWE
but you're not putting your world title in Dominic Mysterio. Let's be honest. Not even WWE is that crazy.
I mean, no time soon. I mean, I'd never say never, but not
I meant
anytime soon.
They're not putting it on him at WrestleMania this year.
No, hell no. Oh no. That cost me.
You did.
That was going to happen.
But no, I love the idea of Dom doing whatever he can, the best he can, to get Rollins destroyed. And then win, lose, or draw. Or, as we've heard some of our favorite people talking about, what if the heist of the century gets heisted? What if during that match with Seth, at the very end of the show, Damian Priest comes out and decides that he's now going to have the heist of the century. And he goes ahead and takes that title from Seth.
And that, I think that is a very strong possibility. That regardless of who they put in that matchup, that is your end goal.
Because it makes Damian Priest feel like the badass he is, because he is. Priest is the badass. Mm-hmm. Priest is great. And it gives you a healthy world champion to go forward for the next few months. until you figure out exactly what Seth needs. Whether it's just more rest, whether it's going ahead and having Seth come right back, it gives you time to make a decision.
Yeah.
And it gives you somebody that you're more than welcome to put that title on.
Well, not only that, now you're giving Priest that WrestleMania moment, so it'll feel a lot bigger than if he would have just cashed it in any other pay-per-view along the way.
Barry Monkey also, to help my love of Dominic Mysterio, the wrestler of the year in my mind. Dom is too good for mere titles. He transcends them, whatever that means.
Well, in Barry's mind, we know what that means is that Dom's hilarity of how he works and gets away with his type of work transcends winning any championship belt.
Barry also says, I've always thought CM Punk's first big title should be beating Gunther. It avoids people complaining WWE just threw the world title on him, but it still gives him a really big win. I don't think he was ever, to be honest with you, I don't think he was ever winning that match. I think he was coming for his WrestleMania main event to lose to Seth Rollins.
Oh, yeah. I don't necessarily think that the idea was for Punk to go over and win the belt against Rollins. Ever. I still believe that Priest would have cashed in that night.
Yeah.
Regardless.
I think that was the plan. Because then Punk can always say that he never lost that match.
Mm-hmm.
And Priest can pin Rollins, which makes sense because he's been following him for a year.
Yeah.
A lot of good things that you can do with that. But no, I mean, I think there's been a lot of good things happening in wrestling this week, especially like I said. Oh, look at that! Brian Carter is now an Ol'Ed Twitch subscriber. Thank you very much.
All right, Brian, check this out. Oh, it's a spin. It's a spin for the sub.
There we go. Now I've got to open 3 pages to do this, but I'm gonna open the back end of Twitch, which sounds a lot more dirty than it actually is. And yes, Brian Carter has subscribed for 1 month at Tier 1. Thank you very much, Brian. We do appreciate it. Like I said, I wasn't sitting here and trolling for subs, but I always like to remind people because I think there are so many people who have Amazon Prime who don't realize that Amazon and Twitch are owned by the same people. Mm-hmm. Now, the Twitch Prime subs are going to kill people like Bobby and I in the near future because Twitch subs are going to be worth a lot less come June. But it's still nice to go ahead and have you guys subscribing when you can, if you can. Because like I said, it does help support the channel. All of the money that we make off of Twitch goes back into our own personal channel, like all the channels that we do. It pays for the Canva subscriptions where we create graphics. It pays for the StreamYard so that we can have as many accounts as we have to have all of our shows on the StreamYards. You know, speaking of shows, we just had a brand new show this Thursday on our Ramble.
We did. Very successful show, too.
Very long show, too.
It was long,
if you want an in-depth review of Ring of Honor, check out the Honor Ramble because they rambled for a long time. Now, again, part of that was
2 hours and 17 minutes, I believe, was the clocked in time.
Now, again, part of that's my fault because I was purposely taking them off track at the end.
we all were, but they handled it like pros.
They did. Some of which they didn't even put on the screen, which I was a little embarrassed about, Bobby, because I knew you were producing for them. Again, more.
See, there was moments where I was horribly distracted, which was what happened, and then I came back and they had already answered things
you probably missed the fact that they were talking about how he's a good fella, and I put that I now want to see Lee Moriarty as dressed as Sheamus, and that's why that didn't make it on the screen.
No, I saw it, but they had already addressed it by the time I noticed, and I was like, shit. So, you know how it goes.
Oh, the sand saved Bobby's
I got it.
ass.
Oh no, I knew it was. I timed that.
Sure
I counted the count.
Sure you did.
That was the one and only time I actually did something right on purpose.
Okay. I'll believe you, Bobby.
Oh, I'll admit that I suck at video games. Don't worry about that. You have to.
Ashton also says that they did great. It's not about freeloading, but it is nice to have people sub every once in a while. It's nice. Like I said, we're not sitting here and pandering for your money. No. Like I said, there are so many little things that we have to pay for in order to put out quality content.
Yeah.
That it's nice when people appreciate that and give us a small, little bit of, money on the back end. But like I said, we're not sitting here pandering for money. We don't even normally mention it, which is a part of our problem is we don't mention it enough that we would like this stuff. Barry brings up a good point, and I want to bring this up. A terrible thing also happened this week. Scott D'Amore is leaving TNA. More worried about talking him than wanting to buy TNA. Is Anthem looking to sell?
That is a good question.
I think Anthem is taking every and any opportunity for somebody to buy TNA, should they want to. But I think unlike everybody else who's ever owned TNA, I don't think they're entertaining offers as easily as everybody else was.
Like,
like Mr. Pumpkins over there, Billy Pumpkins.
Billy Pumpkins has really been doing some terrible things for a while now. But I don't know. Yeah, I think it's a bad thing right now, especially because so many people hold Scott D'Amore in high regard for what he's done for the company and stuff like that. And at a moment where they are seemingly on this rebound, this bounce back and everything, it seems like this was the improper move to be making right now, kind of thing, in my opinion.
Yeah, I definitely think it's not exactly the smartest move to get Scott out of there. Especially, I think it's funny. Moose just signed a brand new contract.
Mm-hmm.
And he's noted in interviews that if it weren't for the fact that Scott D'Amore were there, he would have gone someplace else. He said, the reason I signed with TNA was because Scott was here.
Yep. But they got his signature now.
I bet he's really regretting that decision now.
Yeah, he wishes he wouldn't have signed on the dotted line. How long is that for, too? And how airtight are TNA's contracts?
I think they've got to be more airtight than MLW contracts. But that's not saying.
That's yeah.
I mean, I can write something on a napkin, and it's more, airtight than a MLW contract. I take that way. Fun, but we've had some fun in the Slack chat because you've not been a happy camper at the way MLW and Court Bauer are allowing these wrestlers to just up and leave.
I don't get it. It's like all this announcement of the FU money that they received in their settlement with the WWE, and now it's like, oh, this wrestler's left, this wrestler's left, this wrestler's left. Oh, Alex Kane loses his belt, so now we have to question whether or not we still have him for much longer. It's just all this stuff that's stacking up, and I've yet to see, Bobby brought it up about Mods Kruger earlier. Like, he's a great talent. I like Mods Kruger a hell of a lot, but he's not quite the replacement that we need for a lot of the losses, kind of thing. You can bring up Bobby Fish, but again, last time the Bobby Fish came to MLW, despite the talent that he brings, he left after 2 matches. Mm-hmm. 2 matches with the company, and he left because his buddies were in AEW. So I don't necessarily trust that Bobby Fish won't go do that shit again to us, is my whole thing there. So I don't know.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Like, we've got a lot of working partnerships with all these different companies, talent that could be brought in, but I always find that when we're doing that, that talent is temporary. We don't get any longevity like we have had in the past with our Fatus and our Hammerstones and Alex Kane's and stuff. And remember, Alex Kane has been there a good portion of 2-3 years now. So even he's had a solid contract run at this point in time. So I don't know. It's a lot of loss with not a lot of replacement yet. After Court Bauer said that so much of this money was going to be pumped back into the company, and I look at it, the state of it right now. I'm like, are you? Like, when's it starting?
Maybe he's getting Camille. Maybe that's where this money is going. Maybe he's getting. Maybe Okada's going to MLW.
Jeez, yeah, I bet.
Okada to MLW 2024.
Yeah. I'm sure, yeah. I want to wind down my illustrious Japanese career by going where old wrestlers go to die and young wrestlers go to be seen, MLW.
Well, I mean, he's seeing how well Kojima's being treated in MLW.
This is true. And of course, your tag team partner on Marvel Talk couldn't be any more excited about the Kojima second time as World Heavyweight Champion. The first time MLW has pulled the trigger on a two-time World Heavyweight Champion as well, too. And the fact that he's going to be fighting the Murder Grandpa is the main event of MLW's Intimidation Games.
Brian Carter also says, I just got my Hammerstone figure delivered. I feel a little ripped off.
Yeah, Hammerstone figure. Well, hey, you know what? Mods Kruger's the first one to return that has a figure out there. That's interesting, but they've got your Jacob Fatus. They've got a Killer Cross figure. They've got a Microman figure. You know, all of the people that just in time for their departure, you usually can get their action figures from MLW.
Yeah. Brian Carter says, as an on-screen personality, that and the commentary is bad. I mean, TNA's commentary isn't that bad. I mean, MLW's might be, but
MLW's wasn't as bad last time out because Dombrowski wasn't the problem, and they got rid of Stryker. So last time,
see, you've massively improved now that you no longer have Stryker on the commentary.
Well, yeah, because like right off the hop, I was like, "Oh, great, we're gonna get Numbnuts on commentary again," and then all of a sudden, they had somebody, and I still didn't catch his name. He was new to me, and I thought that he did a great job. I thought him and Dombrowski together were a lot more effective than what Dombrowski and Stryker were.
Bobby Bacito says Shelton Benjamin to MLW. That could be fun.
Yeah, but again, does it have the same effect now if you break, like, again, his name has effect anyway, don't get me wrong, but I'm just thinking in terms of, like, the original thought of wanting him in MLW would have been that match with Alex Kane, but now taking the belt from Alex Kane, do you feel it still has that same oomph that it would have previously? I don't.
We've also got Barry saying, I've always thought Scott was a good backstage authority figure. I wasn't happy when he started getting shouty in the ring or trying to wrestle, but he liked him as an authority figure, if nothing else. And of course, Bob does bring up something that me and my NXT tag team partner my taking over tag team partner are going to talk about on NXT this week. But Sol Ruka returned to the Florida loop this week on the house shows. Apparently fully recovered from her ACL tear that they went ahead and wrote her off TV last year with the Blair Davenport attack. So it'll be nice to see Sol Ruka back in there because she was making a lot of headway previously before the injury. She was really starting to make a name for herself. So to see her back will indeed be a very fun and interesting thing. Speaking of taking over NXT and the wonderful people who talk about it, I want to talk about the wrestling club for a minute because I was on Twitter looking at a couple things and I found this week's and I want to get Bobby's opinion. So you've heard of the wrestling club before. I know you don't know exactly what they are, but you've heard of them before, right?
Yeah.
The Kip Amp Middle School, they have Victor Taylor Perry, who you've seen on many social media platforms,
and also on this very channel at one point.
On this very channel last year for Vengeance Day, a year ago, yeah. But what he does is he gives these kids an outlet to watch, not just the NXT product or the AEW product or the WWE product, everything. He shows them old matches, he shows them new matches, he shows them as many things as he can find. Indie wrestling, television wrestling, pay-per-view wrestling. He goes out there to show these kids all of what wrestling has to offer. And they're doing Black History Month as you would expect in February. Mm-hmm. And this is next week's schedule of matches. There are two crews. They have the lunch recess crew, which I'm going to talk about first, which is a shorter class. And then they have the after school sessions, which are the longer ones. And I believe the after school ones are for the older kids in the classes. Lunch recess crew on Monday is going to see the 2021 Money in the Bank ladder match because it is showcasing the first Black Money in the Bank winner, which in that case would be Big E. They are then seeing on Wednesday, they're doing a character analysis project. And this is something Victor talked about, and I'm so glad he's actually doing it. The objective of this is that the kids are going to compare and contrast the word choices analyzed by a character's wants and motivations based on their actions. Are they a villain, are they a hero, or are they an anti-hero? Remember, these kids are in middle school, and they're getting the opportunity, and this is largely because of the Carmelo Hayes promo from this week on NXT. And they are going to break down the Carmelo story, it looks like, and talk about how they see Carmelo based on his words and his actions. Because one of the lines in his promo is, you're seen as the hero. I'm seen as the villain because the story's always written by the hero. Which I think is an interesting way to look at the story. So I'm very glad that he's actually doing that. We're also going to see on the Friday session, Bayley versus Becky versus Charlotte versus Sasha Banks. The only time the Four Horsewomen Fatal 4-Way has ever happened, it happened in NXT. So you're going to be watching that. And they're going to be watching the first ever recognized Black NWA World Champion as Ken Shamrock from the weekly TNA episodes is taking on Ron Killings, otherwise known as R-Truth.
Yep.
Oh, it's so nice to see this R-Truth match because people are going to be very surprised when they see Ron Killings in comparison to the R-Truth that we're used to.
Night and day.
Those are two vastly different people. Same person, but two vastly different characters.
He commits to that persona so incredibly well. Like, it's not always for me, but some of the moments are funny, genuinely funny, and it's because of his commitment. Most of the time, that would not work at all, but due to his commitment, oh my God, it gets over a lot more than it should.
Astrid's upset that it's the only time we ever got the Fatal 4-Way for the Four Horsewomen.
Might be the only time it ever happens, actually, now.
I think it likely will be the only time it ever happens now. Barry saying the reason the good guys always win wars is the winners write history. I agree. I just love that, we talk about heroes and villains and things like that in wrestling stories. And I love the idea that a villain is bringing up who writes the story for once. It's something that we almost never get to see or never get to hear about. Are you supposed to be collecting those black tokens?
No, the green ones. Green ones, not the black ones.
All right, well, you collected a lot of the black ones, so.
I know.
Oh, you only got two. I thought you got more than two.
I had two of each, so they canceled each other out.
Good job, Bobby.
Well done.
Damn it, Bobby! All right, also now, for the older kids in the after-school class, this is the one I think that's going to get some of us a little bit more excited, because, again, it's very WWE focused for that one.
Mm-hmm.
The after-school class is getting Bret Hart versus Owen Hart from WrestleMania 10.
Nice.
They're getting Bryan Danielson versus Zack Sabre Jr. at New Japan New Beginnings 2024. They are also getting Axiom and Nathan Frazier versus Idris Enofe and Malik Blade from NXT this week. They are getting, from the Goddess of Stardom title match, the Stardom champions around the world in Nagana match. We're getting Hiryu Masamoto and Jungle Corona versus Kairi Hojo and Yoko Bito.
Wow.
On Wednesday, they are getting Adam Page versus Swerve Strickland 3. So that is the most recent match that happened on AEW this week.
So not the blood drinking.
No.
Yeah,
He cannot show that to the students. He had one of the funny things is people bring up matches for him, and he's like, "Look, this is a school. There are some restrictions on what these kids are allowed and not allowed to see."
Fair enough.
They're getting Dijak versus Ilya from NXT this week. They're getting Flash Morgan Webster and Mark Andrews versus James Drake and Zach Gibson versus Mark Coffey and Wolfgang from NXT TakeOver Cardiff. So that'll be fun. El Hijo de Vikingo versus Gringo Loco versus Jack Cartwheel versus Stephen Wolf from Dreamwave. Alternative title 4-way scramble from Dreamwave Good as Gold 2023. Again, he finds these really great obscure indie matches that I'm like, I might want to watch that. Like, it's a very flippy match, but I could be into that.
Sometimes flippy matches have their place on the indies.
They do.
Sometimes.
They have much more of a place on the indies than they do on television.
Mm-hmm.
And then on Friday, Kenny Omega versus Rey Fenix AEW World Title match from New Year's Smash 2021. Alec Price and Kevin Blackwood versus Jake Something and Mike Bailey, a tag team match from DPW's You Already Know 2024. Dynamite Kid versus Tiger Mask.
Wow.
From 1983.
There you go.
Momo Watanabe versus Yotoma Hashishida from the World of Stardom title match from Stardom Osaka Dream Cinderella. Like, these kids are eating good in terms of professional wrestling.
They really are. Really are. Oh, hey, I missed that Doltreeves in the chat there. Doltreeves, a good friend of mine. Thanks for stopping by, buddy. Glad you're here. And I want to go to what Brian Carter's asking there about our favorite podcasts to listen to. Anything I can get my hands on that, a lot of interviews with old wrestlers. It doesn't really matter whose podcast in particular. I'll listen to them. Love learning about the old school stuff. In terms of new stuff, I've got all the podcasts I need right here at our local establishment, and I mean that wholeheartedly. I enjoy listening to the content that we have here from all the creators.
I mean, in terms of me, I don't listen to a bunch, believe it or not, I don't listen to a bunch of wrestling podcasts. I don't have a lot of time for them anymore, considering I do what I do. And I spend a lot of my time watching some of my favorite creators during my workday. And that's in a non-wrestling capacity. I think the guys at Going in Raw have a great podcast. And if you want something entertaining, they deliver something very specific for the friendos there. I think that, no matter what people think of him and what kind of person he may be in the regime that, he was a part of for so many years, I think Bruce Pritchard's podcast has always been something interesting to listen to. Something to wrestle with has always taught me a little something here and there. And it's interesting to see what the people who were there are saying, as opposed to the stories that you sometimes get from wrestlers and things like that. Especially for, like you said, some of that older stuff, that stuff that I grew up on. The mid to late 90s when Bruce was there. There's a lot of interesting things that you can learn about that. Eric Bischoff, 83 Weeks, was a really good podcast for a while. I don't take Jeff Jarrett that seriously, so I don't listen to the My World podcast. But
I don't take Bischoff seriously, so that's why I usually don't listen.
I don't mind Bischoff. I think Bischoff gets a lot more hate than he deserves. I think he did a lot more with what... I think people forget how bad WCW really was before he got there. When they talk about how he didn't really do anything with WCW and it was just the inmates running the asylum, and that his only one storyline was a storyline that he stole from Japan. Like, yes, He stole a storyline from Japan. There's nothing creatively new in wrestling almost ever.
Nope.
We're retelling almost always the exact same stories over and over and over again nowadays. But no, I think he did a really good job taking a company that never made money and make it make money. And the Time Warner deal really screwed them more than anything. Go figure. Time Warner not understanding how to put people in place to run a wrestling company. And now Tony Khan is with Time Warner not knowing how to run a wrestling company. It's funny how things repeat themselves.
Or how, yeah. I mean, there's not a lot.
Again, I reiterate, Sting is a tag team champion heading into his final match at Revolution.
I wonder what will happen.
See, here's the thing. Tony Khan's this stupid guy who claims like he understands wrestling, but like I could see him having Darby and Sting go over in that match at Revolution.
Yeah. I can too.
It's best for business to let Sting go out on a high and then like just take the titles and vacate the titles.
Really, Sting's retirement match should have been used to put somebody over on his way out.
Darby fucking Allin.
Right there.
He's wrestling the fucking Bucks.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Those
I wonder who politicked that monstrosity.
The fucking Young Bucks. Yep. Matthew and Nicholas Jackson.
Now I'm going to say something unexpected here today, that especially if you've been listening to me on stream the last little while. I would rather deal with Sami Callihan than ever have to watch a Young Bucks match.
I think there were some interesting Young Buck matches back when the Young Bucks meant something.
They meant something?
I think that there was a generation of wrestling talent who grew up watching them, and they were a tag team to a younger generation that meant something, that did something interesting. They took this you can work the indies mentality and be a big star and made it make sense. They were able to make a career off of working the indies. And you know as well as I do, watching old school wrestling, that how many sad legends are working indie shows because they don't know how to do anything else. Mm-hmm. And the Young Bucks were able to create an empire so that they could do something else when their wrestling career was over, because they were constantly on the indies and they were doing things, and they knew how to move merch. They knew how to, get the fan base talking and have matches that people were talking. Yes, they were Generation Me. I agree. But then again, that's in TNA, and TNA, as much as we love TNA here, TNA did not always make the best of decisions when it came to how they utilized talent early on. Think about this. They had Okada on Excursion, and how did that work out for them? Because I know that I've heard interviews where Okada has said, apparently through translators, that he would never go back to TNA after the way they treated him. Now, granted, he went back to TNA, but it was never for anything more than a match or two. And it's because of the way he was treated when he went there on Excursion. We have Bobby Machito jumping in. We'll get to Barry, who's still on TNA. TNA, I would say, was mostly awful. But I also like, oh yes. I know how much you love your favorite wrestler, Von Wagner. Trust me, I understand how much you love awful wrestling. And if that's the case, anything in WWE from the what do you say now, Bobby? 1990 to 93 or 94? Pretty awful wrestling in there on WWE's side.
I mean, as a kid, I didn't think so, but going back and seeing some of it, you're like, ooh, what?
I'll give you a sneak preview. There's something coming up tomorrow. There's a show called Talking Takeover, and we watched NXT Arrival. And I'm going to give you a sneak preview. It doesn't hold up. In my mind, it doesn't hold up as much as I thought it did.
Yeah.
That show did not hold up as much as I thought it did based on what I remember from it. I definitely... I remember it way more fondly than having rewatched it and going, oh, okay, that was what was on the show.
But I think the issue with that is sometimes wrestling cards are an in the moment sort of situation. Like if you don't watch it live, it doesn't necessarily have the same effect. Or once you've seen it already, maybe it doesn't have that same impact as it did when you watched it at that given time.
Yeah. We're going to go back to Bobby's comment now. Who will be wrestling for the NXT Championship at Stand and Deliver? I have two answers for this question. I have the answer that I want, and I have the answer that I expect. I think it's going to be Dijak versus Ilya Dragunov.
Okay.
Based on the way things are going, I think that's a possibility. But I think it's going to be Ilya carrying that title into Stand and Deliver. However, if it were me, I would have Mello versus Ilya at Roadblock, and then I would put the title on Mello to then have Trick come back, because there's this thing that the babyface always is silly enough to stop the heel from winning the title. And I think a babyface should be smart every once in a while, and they should be like, if that guy wins the title, I get to wrestle for the title. You know? And I think that would be an interesting way to go with Mello versus Trick for the title.
Yeah, nothing more I can really add to that because I don't follow as well as you do or anything like that. So
Brian Carter saying he found the whole Attitude Era to be unwatchable. In the moment, it was a different time and a different place, and it was really, really interesting. Looking back, it's a bit rough. There's a lot of things that I see on that now.
Cringeworthy at best.
Yeah, it's. But again, that's because it's half because it was Vince McMahon and the way he was telling stories, but also you have to understand that was a different time in the world where, as crazy as it's going to sound, those things were acceptable then. Like you can at least agree to that.
Your number one show on television was the Jerry Springer show, and we all know what that was day in and day out. So that's why guys like Russo came in and convinced the company to get away from this childlike atmosphere and start doing Crash TV like on the Jerry Springer show. Big names, quick matches, lots of goofy stuff and mistreating of women and all sorts of things.
I don't want to say the mistreating of women was something that was widely acceptable, but there was a sexual element to television that was widely acceptable at the time.
Yeah.
That's not acceptable now. There was a way that people were the biggest thing I think is funny is there's this meme that I always see that floats around of the Married with Children and how Kelly Bundy and her skanky friends used to dress.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like mini skirts and like shiny dresses and things like that. And then it's like children's television today, and it'd be like Victorious or something like that. And they'd be all wearing bikinis and it would be completely acceptable. Like the idea of what people wear changes over the course of time, and the determination of how that is portrayed on television and what you can get away with and what's considered okay now isn't always considered okay. I mean, remember, Betty Page used to be, and Marilyn Monroe used to be the epitome of what a woman was supposed to be. And that's why the timeless Toni Storm, for people like me and Bobby, is so great, because it reminds us of a day where those women were considered to be top tier. And again, the Toni Storm character is entirely because she's playing an old famous women's wrestler from the what is it, Mildred Burke, right?
Yeah, Mildred Burke.
You just got squished again, Bobby.
I keep forgetting that that's not a safe spot. Over and over.
Bobby also brings up maybe they could build up Josh Briggs to wrestle against Ilya Dragunov or Oba Femi at NXT Stand and Deliver. I agree. I think Briggs would be a great choice. It sounds like Briggs is going to have at least a little feud, maybe at Roadblock with Jensen, based on last week's show, but that's fine.
Now, I got to say, like, when it comes to Oba Femi, if it had not been for how much that you and Astrid have been putting over Oba Femi, I would have not really paid as much attention. But I've gone and checked out Oba Femi as a result of your enthusiasm towards him. I got to say, I get it. I understand the enthusiasm. It's
like he's like, so I keep saying this, and I'll continue to say this over and over and over again. Oba Femi is what WWE wanted Omos to be.
Yeah, I can see that for sure.
He's this hulking mass from a specific part of the world. And yes, there's a specific look. They want diversity in their top tier talent. They want to cultivate personality that everybody can watch their product and go, that person makes me feel seen. That person makes me feel appreciated. And have kids like the wrestling club looked up to specific types of wrestlers. There's a reason why people like Oba Femi need to be cherished when they can do it. And he's not bad on the mic.
No.
He's got the ability. Bobby, that's not a safe spot.
Nope. Thank you. Oh, I still didn't make it.
Neither is that, but at least you were trying to get to the safe spot.
Yes.
They've done a fantastic job at showing us who he is and treating him like a big deal.
Yep.
They make us feel like he's a big deal. They put ruler in his card, like on his like name card as he comes out to the ring. Like there's Luigi's going to show you a super guide. Bobby, you have a freebie. He can tell you how to do it.
They're giving me a sympathy run there. It's like, oh, we'll show you how it's done because you're obviously terrible at this.
Yeah, Oba Femi is a rising star. I think he will be in the men's Royal Rumble next year. I wholeheartedly agree.
Yeah.
I think he won't be on the roster after the Rumble, but I think he definitely have a spot in the Rumble because I think there's a lot you can do with him and guys like Drew and guys like Damian and people like that. I think there's a lot of fun you could have with Oba Femi in the Rumble next year. But no, WWE does a very good job right now of trying to make sure that different groups of people, that different people get seen. And I think Oba Femi is a nice way for them to try to make a specific group of people feel seen. And that's a good thing. Because wrestling should be for everybody. And part of wrestling being for everybody is having people that represent everybody on television.
That was bad.
I purposely got quiet to see what would happen to Bobby there.
That was bad. That was stupid. Oh well. This level's gonna haunt me, I swear. No, they are doing a good job, despite all the negativity that we're obviously not gonna dwell on or anything like that. They've done a good job in the face of the negativity of doing some things that are positive for the company as a whole. And it's things like that you see, the representation that's being seen as well too is part of all of that.
Yeah. They've done a very good job of being like, look, we're going to ignore, as far as a television program, we're going to ignore the things that's going on that's bad. And we're going to focus on what we can do. Because the only people who can handle the other thing is the lawyers.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to let the lawyers who can handle that. Oh, you got a flower, Bobby.
Yay.
Don't lose the flower, Bobby.
Oh no, I think I got a life. That was a free life. So don't lose that.
Oh, okay. Oh man, I know you're gonna lose that, so I'm not super worried about it.
Well, yeah, this is true.
Not worried about that part.
I've lost enough of them already.
Uh-huh. I've seen you lose them. But no, I think that they've done a very good job of being like, look, the lawyers are going to handle the lawyer thing. We're just going to do the best show that we can. Jump. There you go, Bobby.
Yay. Oh, screwed myself again.
Hold on.
I got to figure out this pattern.
Do it twice. Yes.
So here we go.
Bobby.
Oh, look at that. Okay, so we do this. Watch. Oh, I made it. Look at that.
Bobby.
All right. Woo. Now I have to go fight a boss. This is going to suck.
Bobby did it. Yes. Bobby got back to the boss.
He doesn't know what's coming now.
Oh, the boss does. The boss knows that an idiot's coming. He's been waiting here for 30 minutes.
He's checking his watch every good. Is he here yet?
I was told that there was a guy in the other room. Yeah. He was in the other room. Yeah. Is he coming? What do you mean he's dying?
How do we beat
are my minions killing him? Oh, the walls, the moving walls. So that makes sense.
Yeah, see, this is.
There goes the flower.
All right, jump that one. And he does. See, that's the problem. He does that one, and then these two.
Now jump on him.
Like that.
Good job. Avoid the spin. One, jump. Stop getting small.
Be a third one. Then he'll come back, and then he's going to get one of these guys back again.
Yeah. And now get close.
So far, so good.
Yeah.
Jumps twice. There we go. This is intense. Last one. This one's going to be a brutal one. I guarantee it's going to be. There it is. Damn it.
We've got Brian Carter saying, I do agree with diversity in wrestling. I think MLW missed the boat by not hyping the historic nature of Alex Kane being champion. And you've also got a cheerleader in Bobby Petito. Bobby Stats is in here saying, you got this.
And see, this is where, like, what Brian's saying, I question whether or not Alex Kane is on his way to somewhere else. And that's why they pulled the trigger like they did. Because it seemed like this whole thing had been built up, the presentation that you almost like you can foresee the championship changes in MLW. And if it ever was a shock change, you would expect it to be on a path of building a new star. And that's not the case here. Like, they've always done a good job of, you know that the title change is coming, but you expect it in a good way is the best way to put that. And nothing against Kojima. I am not mad like some people that Kojima is a champion. I'm more frustrated that it derailed this run of Alex Kane that was happening, and it came out of nowhere.
And it doesn't look like it's leading back to Alex Kane.
No, and not at all. It almost seemed like they found out that day that Alex Kane was getting signed somewhere, and they had to make a rash decision because the graphic that came up earlier in the night about, Kojima versus Murder Grandpa, and then they start talking about, oh, well, this also means that could be for the belt if Kojima wins later tonight. And I should have seen the writing on the wall right then and there. That was their indication that, hey, guess what? We're getting a title change.
And look at you, but hold on.
You gotta wait. And then you
did it, Bobby. You did it. Good job.
I adapt.
Now remember the words of Bobby Petito.
You got this. You got this.
I'm gonna leave him on screen for you too.
All right. Motivation to finally get past this level. Especially since I've been at this for like an hour and a half and I haven't even got out of the second world yet. Shame on me. I used to be good at games as a kid. Then I lost my dexterity over time.
Remember, this one flies?
Yeah. Oh, and now the second one does apparently too. And the third.
And now the double.
Yeah.
There you go. All right, we're good.
Just like some people's Tim Hortons coffee in the morning. Double.
There we go. Jump.
One more time. All right.
All right. These are going to be, you're going to do the wall bounce now. Oh, no. They've changed it up on you. Now the wall bounce.
Yeah, they changed it up in the first round too. It didn't do the same pattern as he normally does.
All right, you're fine.
I go and do that. I did so good, and I lose to the easy one. Of course,
you're fine. Bam. All right, one more. Jump. There you go. There you go. All right. Here we are, Bobby. We got this.
Oh, I couldn't get him turned quick enough.
Cards are to change.
So close.
You've got this. Cards are to change.
That's right.
But no, I mean, cards are to change is fine. Like I get the idea that Kojima versus Murder Grandpa. Yeah, sometimes he's in. Are you going to take it? You can take the easy way out. You're going to press the green box.
Well, no, because I know how to get to the boss. And that's all it's going to show me. So
I know.
I don't think it's going to show me any other extra hints about how to defeat him or anything like that.
Oh, but no, I think when we're talking more so than how he lost the title, I think Brian's comment about not hyping up the historic nature of and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there have been other Black World Champions in MLW that make it a less impressive feat or a less historic feat. But to me, I think that's part of the thing that Brian was talking about is how during the run, I guess he's saying that maybe he thought that MLW didn't hype enough about having Alex Kane as their champion, having that man representing that community as champion, and having him lose it right before BHM, which I get. We don't want to talk business. We don't want to talk about how sometimes you have to look good for the world. But you're telling me Alex Kane couldn't hold that through February?
Yeah.
And then drop it in March?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And again, like, I mean, if you're going for the idea, like they had a black heavyweight champion and stuff, it's not the first time, because remember Shane Strickland was former MLW World Heavyweight Champion as well too.
I forget that Surf Strickland was ever in MLW. Thank God.
Yeah, he topped their company, and he was awesome there too before signing with NXT. Again, the list is very small of MLW champions because it's usually a decent run that they get with it. You had Shane Douglas, you had Kojima, Mike Awesome, Steve Carino, Shane Strickland, Loki, Tom Lawler, Jacob Fatu, Hammerstone, Alex Kane, and now back to Kojima are the only ones that have ever held the MLW World Heavyweight Championship.
And for those that are wondering why there's a list of names that feels like it's, out of 10, 15 years ago, because it was. MLW wasn't a company for a long time. So that after Steve Carino, the new champions come after, I believe, Steve Carino, right? I think Swerve is the first return champion.
Yeah, Carino vacated the belt, or it became deactivated or whatever for a while. Yeah. And then, Strickland was the one that came back, won it, and it's been going since then, kind of thing. A lot of people don't even realize that MLW has actually been around for like 20 years. Mm-hmm. Right around the same time as Ring of Honor started, so did MLW.
Yeah.
And both created as alternatives to the big company. And look where
which they did very well.
I think they both did very well, but I think since then, it's tough to compete in that market. That's the thing. Everybody always has to look at the big companies and say, I want to be better than that. And they don't just focus on being the alternative. They try to do the same things. And that's where they get hurt. If they look at the other guys, well, it works for them. Well, it's not going to work for everybody. What works for one isn't going to work for all. And that's where these companies need to take a look at themselves and say, we need to be the alternative and capture the market that wants something that isn't WWE or AEW.
The reason why WWE is able to tell the stories it tells, and we'll talk about that in a minute, because you got this, Bobby.
Yeah, I got this. As long as he doesn't change the pattern again. And I screwed it up already.
Double jump.
There we go.
1, 2, bam.
There we go.
All right, here we go.
he's just going to go straight forward on these ones. Okay. 1, 2. Like, oh, no. No. What did I do?
Bobby!
Oh, can I? I failed you all.
We don't know what's going on.
I have failed everybody.
You have failed this community. 1, 2.
Oh, I got him that time.
We're back on track.
Please, Bobby, redeem yourself. All right, one more time. We got this. We don't got this. I swear. Oh, no.
We might have got this by...
No! Oh, no! Oh, what's he trying to do to me? 1, 2, get him!
No!
Hey!
Come
here! Whoa!
You jumped too far, Bobby!
All right.
I'm going to put it up now anyway. This is funny.
I swear this is the last time I'm tempted this.
All right, so on our previous topic, Bobby Barry Monkey does say, I think that's what impacted. It did its own thing. It didn't always work, but it was itself. I agree. Impact is always impact. For good, for bad often, impact was always impact. Here's the thing. WWE gets to tell the stories it tells, and it gets to do the things it does because of the fact that it's number one in the world at what it does. When the times where it wasn't number one, they were putting out compelling stories. They were putting out compelling characters. They were doing things that made sense that we always talk about as you have to do these things in order to do what you need to do in the world of professional wrestling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of these companies, AEW and everybody else, they talk about being the alternative, but then they think they need to do things similarly how WWE do things in order to be successful. WWE is able to be successful and do the things it does because of the fact that it's the number one company in wrestling in the world. For a large majority of people, when you say, I'm going to go watch wrestling, they think of WWE.
Yeah.
They correlate. Wrestling and WWE is the exact same thing.
Well, even when I explain to people what I do, like people who don't, they're outside of our general community and stuff like that. I'm a ring announcer or a commentator for pro wrestling. And they're like, oh, like WWE. That's always the answer that a casual person will give back because it's a recognized brand.
Yeah. And that's why WWE, while the ratings aren't as high as they usually are, or why the ratings aren't necessarily that much bigger than AEW's, they can go ahead and get $10 billion from Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
Why can they get that much money? Simple. Oh, hold on. We'll talk about it in a minute. There you go, Bobby. 1.
Ooh. Ooh.
2.
You gotta do that like a wrestling fan. 2.
There, Bobby.
Will he get the 3 count? Will he get the 3 count? Oh, I'll take those ones all day long. Oh, maybe not so much those ones.
It's all right.
Yeah.
3 count.
I got this. Woo. Okay.
1, 2, 3. Bobby beats the Koopa.
Back to the show.
Yes, back to talking about professional wrestling. And I think that's part of the things that people don't get is that Barry Monkey shows you the greatest level of support he can. Well done.
Bye.
About time.
But
like Uncle Roger, there's an insult even in the compliment.
Yep. I think I'm done playing. I'm going out on a high note. Mic drop. Mic drop. It's over. It's over.
By the way, we need to clip that 1 hour, 35 minutes.
Oh, trust me, I will. So, I mean, speaking of clips, man, there's been some good ones this week for all the different shows that we've had between Japanese wrestling update, taking over, the honor ramble. There has just been some top quality clips, and even from Ring Respect on Thursday, we had the Short Kings on, and there was some very, very fun clippable moments having those guys on the show there.
It is indeed a clip-worthy week this week. But yeah, I think we've talked about as much professional wrestling as we can. Is there anything that you people in the comments really want to talk about professional wrestling before Bobby and I think are ready to get out of here and go eat some breakfast?
That's about lunchtime, getting there anyway.
Brunch.
Brunch. We could go for brunch.
Not to steal any gimmicks from anybody, but
I
brunch.
gotta say, Ed, I'm quite impressed because last year, this exact same time, doing a Sunday show up against the Super Bowl, the numbers were dismal. We had nobody, and yet here today, these numbers have been strong with a great crew that we've got here in the chat as well too. Yeah. And I just want to thank every one of you. I know that maybe not everyone in the chat is a fan of NFL football, but Super Bowl Sunday, even if you were to go on Twitch right now, you're going to look at your list and see a much reduced list of streamers on today as a result of the Super Bowl being on. And that's simply because not a lot of people are paying a whole lot of attention to Twitch and are paying attention to the NFL today. So thank you to each and every one of you.
Which of the three teams is going to win the Super Bowl this year?
Taylor Swift.
I was going to say, because there are three teams, which would beat me to the punch. Is it the 49ers? Is it the Kansas City Chiefs? Or is it the Taylor Swifts?
100%. I right away, I was like, yeah, the Swifties win every single time.
I'll ask you a better question. Will we see Taylor Swift on camera in Las Vegas for the Super Bowl?
Well, yeah, I would imagine so. I mean,
remember, she's got a show in Tokyo that she just did. She's got a long flight to get there. It's going to be difficult.
Yeah, true. But if anyone can find a way, I'm sure Taylor Swift will find that way to be sure she's there today. I can only imagine anyway. I'm speculating, but
on that Monday, I was inundated because I have a Swiftie friend on top of having a tag team partner who claims she's a Swiftie
fan,
who was sending me all these random videos of news reporters doing the Taylor Swift math on whether or not we're talking Taylor Swift and Barry's like, I've got to go.
Oh, Barry.
All right. Barry, you have a wonderful day. We thank you for stopping by. And look at that. We talked Taylor Swift. Our numbers go up by 2.
Yeah, that's right. The Swifties are coming out in the masses. They're like, what's this new report you got on Pop Smokes and Taylor Swift there?
I was going to say. Now, we all know Taylor Swift is obviously, we all know Papa Smokes is rooting for Taylor Swift tonight.
Well, of course he is. And again, I know Papa Smokes was in the chat earlier here today, but he wasn't physically here, so I cannot confirm nor deny whether Papa Smokes is actually at his shoot job or whether he's made the trip exclusively to the Super Bowl and is being ushered through the VIP sections to go and be there for Taylor.
Maybe.
But we'll watch out for him. Keep an eye out. Watch the Super Bowl and see if you see Papa Smokes in the audience. Might be there.
If you don't see Papa Smokes, definitely don't worry. Bobby's gonna make sure that he photoshops him in there.
Oh, Thursday. Photoshop. Oh, you're the no. I only go for truthful journalism around here. Yeah. Yeah.
Sure. So in all those video packages of you and Papa Smokes, being the Heart Foundation, that's truthful. That you and Papa Smokes have the body of the Heart Foundation.
we are the best, most undefeated tag team to have never actually stepped foot in a ring in the history of professional wrestling. That's all I'll say about that.
There's a lot of qualifiers on that statement.
There is a lot of qualifiers.
I will just state I will not try to attack the statement any other way other than It's an awful lot of qualifiers on that statement.
And see, the problem is, I don't want to ever ruin that. So that's why Pop Smokes and we can never go inside of a ring and become a team for real, because unfortunately, we would jeopardize our true nature of undefeated tag team. So
that has nothing to do with how the Papa Smokes is, shall we say, you and Papa Smokes may not be the most physically fit individuals for getting into the wrestling ring with some of these young gentlemen.
Papa Smokes might have the age behind him, but man, I don't want to get in the ring with Papa Smokes.
I did not say Papa Smokes. I did not say Papa Smokes was out of shape. I did not say Papa Smokes was out of shape. I know that you guys are not physically fit enough to handle the young talent that is in that PPW locker room.
That is very fair, but I will attest for Pop Smokes that I think he'd hold his own in there a lot better than I would too, because that guy is
I would also not disagree with that statement. I would fear Papa Smokes a lot more than I fear you, my good friend.
Yeah, that's right. I'm a big boy. Don't get me wrong. Like Pop Smokes and I are height wise, we're the same, and I definitely have the weight capacity over Papa Smokes. But dude, he spends every single day walking or jogging to and from his job. Papa Smokes doesn't own a vehicle because he doesn't need to. He goes running everywhere he goes. So I don't disbelieve for a second that Papa Smokes, even for his age, could get in there and do a lot more than some of us could.
Remember, Action Mike Jackson is a professional wrestler. Like, if you think older people can't do it, Minoru Suzuki and Action Mike Jackson are two of your qualifiers that you can do this. Hell, Ric Flair is technically still an in-ring competitor.
Yeah, I mean...
Speaking on more fun topics, we got Brian Carter coming in. Tom Brady and I have a combined 7 Super Bowl titles, so you can trust me to pick the winner of today's game. All
right, then. Pick that winner then, Brian. Want to hear it right now. Before we take off for the day, I want to know what you think. Who's going to win that Super Bowl? Ed, how about yourself? Are you an NFL fan? Do you follow it all, or have
Kansas
a team
City? Kansas City.
Okay.
As Brian says, Kansas City Chiefs. I think Pat Mahomes, Travis Kelce are a very dominant team. They're a dominant tag team in this professional football arena. And that might be all you need in this day and age is that dominant tag team to go ahead and take it. The Chiefs are just an incredible team. And I've learned not to bet against them if I don't have to. So as much as I would like the 49ers to win, to crush the Chiefs dynasty so that they don't get into the levels of the New England Patriots dynasties of the last, 20, 30 years. I'm going to have to go with the Chiefs. You roll with the winner.
All right. So that's it right there. Rolling with winners. The Kansas City Chiefs seem to be the pick of the day anyway. So
Bobby Gachito says, who's the next rising star in NXT? For him, he sees all the potential in Luca Carusafino. I love me some Luca, but I think Luca's more of a joke than he is anything else. I would love Luca to be fantastic. Do you know who Luca Carusafino is?
No.
Based on the chat that we've talked about it. So you remember Clarence Mason, right?
Yeah.
He's a wrestling lawyer. He's Clarence Mason if Clarence Mason got in the ring. And he's also on Twitter. He defends all of the heels in any of their gripes with management.
Oh, okay.
Like when Chelsea Green has gripes against Adam Pearce, it's always Luca Carusafino putting out the tweets, talking about filing the forms. And he even creates these little Word documents that are like a legal form talking about putting in official complaints.
See that could work in terms of being a manager that defends the heel wrestlers or prevents them from having to do things they just don't want to do, which allows them to get away with their chicken shit antics and stuff. I think that could work, and I kind of miss that aspect of pro wrestling. Yeah, I'd like to see more of it.
All right, Bobby, let's go ahead and tell the people where they can find you.
All right. That means I got to put some banner up on the screen or something like that.
Put some banners on the screen.
I might have to. I should probably flip to the one that says my name first there. So there we go. That's where you can find me. I'm Bobby Munson. The ticker down below is where you can find me. You're going to be able to catch me live in capacity Thursday nights with Papa Smokes, as we are going to be talking some MLW this week. then you're going to be able to catch me again here on Point of View next Sunday, as well as over the Prairie Pro Wrestling YouTube channel, where every Saturday you can find myself and Papa Smoke calling a brand new match from the vaults of Prairie Pro Wrestling. But, Ed, I forgot to play. I played it at the top of the hour. I think we're going to have to play the calendar before we completely head on out here, too, because I want everyone to see what we got. So before we get to where they can find you, let me just throw this up here real quick for everyone.
I'm out of control, about to blow, and I've been caught in the undertow. So toxic, but I can't get enough. You're burying me. Yeah, you're burying me. You've got me hypnotized. Push me out of myself. You've got me hypnotized. Whoa. I can see, I can hear, going crazy for the light. It's got me hypnotized. You've got me hypnotized. Can you hold my hand again?
Yes.
There's what we got coming up. And
As you saw in that wonderful clip, you can find me in a lot of places this week. First of all, you can find me on the Twitter at edfries12584. You can find me on the Twitch at twitch.tv/edfries2002, where I simulcast any of the gaming content. I was going to do a sponsored Genshin stream, but unfortunately I pressed the wrong button and ended the campaign before I got to do the stream today, because I was going to try to make myself some more money. But you can go ahead and find me this week. This Monday we're going to be starting the week of Ed. We started it early today, but the week of Ed is coming with NXT Arrival, Talking Takeover's first episode. NXT Arrival. Look at these wonderful young faces in here. We've got Connor from the Ascension up here in the corner. Barry Monkey will know him. Look at this young babyface Sami Zayn in the corner over here. We got a Bo Dallas with that wonderful NXT Championship over there. All kinds of good stuff. You can find me and Astrid tomorrow night. I believe it's going to be around 8 o'clock-ish start time for that. We're going to go live against Monday Night Raw. We're going to go ahead and talk NXT Arrival. Then you can find us talking NXT on Tuesday night with Taking Over, right after NXT as per usual. Wednesday night, me and Andre are back at it again, once more in the saddle, as we're going to be talking all things Iron Man 2 as Marvel Rebound comes back. The MCU Rebound comes back, and we're going to be talking Marvel with Iron Man 2. We're going to see a little bit more Justin Hammer, Mickey Rourke to bring in a wrestling reference. Mickey Rourke will be there with us. Not on camera, but in the movie. It'd be great if we could get Mickey Rourke. Bobby, if you could make that happen, I'd be appreciative.
Well, we make magical things happen here. Maybe. Well,
truly blessed. I want to thank you for following us. We greatly appreciate it. As they followed us as we're getting ready to raid over there. And you can also find me potentially this Thursday night rambling along with Kyle, as Auntie Collins is going to be unavailable this week. So I've offered my services. We'll see if I'm going to be taken up on them. Potentially rambling some more Ring of Honor this Thursday. So I've got a busy week coming up.
All right, there you have it. Busy week all around for us here at our local establishment. We appreciate you dropping in for this edition of Point of View, and we will see you again next Sunday right here on the channel. Thank you, everybody.